All right. I think we are getting there slowly with the numbers, so hopefully everyone else can join us shortly. But for now, hello once again, and thank you so much for joining today's webinar for HEC Paris Master Program in Innovation and Entrepreneurship with Coursera. My name is Diana, and I'm one of the enrollment counselors. And today I'm joined by Pedro, fellow enrollment counselor, and he will be monitoring live Q&A chat today for your questions. And then we also have our marketing manager, Alessia, who will be helping us behind the scene. So we'll start with a program overview with a very brief insight to the structure, but then we will spend quite great detail on the application process to provide you really further insights on how to prepare, how to write the strong application, and discuss what you can expect from the degree at the end. And finally, we will end off with a live Q&A today with HEC Program Advisor as well, who will be assisting us with providing some further clarifications. So as the presentation goes, pop your questions to the chat. We will be addressing them both during and after the session, and then we'll share the recording as well at the end. All right, let's then start with, first of all, introducing our special guest today. So Sarah Valliramati is a program advisor at HEC Paris. She will be sharing more insights for the application process today. But for now, Sarah, I just want to pass on to you perhaps for brief introductions.
Thank you, Diana. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I'm the HEC Program Advisor for the MSIE and EMSIE program. I'm excited to be here to share some tips and guidelines about the application procedures.
Great. Well, we're definitely going to come back to that very soon. But for now, just want to start by giving a bit of introduction really to the school and what you can expect by studying with HEC Paris. Let's start, first of all, with some insights. HEC Paris is an institution that has been shaping the leaders of tomorrow for over 140 years and has an in-depth understanding of the impact of change. It is currently ranked as #1 business school in Europe by Financial Times for the 5th consecutive year in a row, and takes the lead as the top business school in Europe for educating CEOs of Fortune Global 500 companies. This degree is 100% online and flexible, and it is designed for busy working professionals. So essentially with this program, you can study at the #1 business school in Europe, whilst not really needing to leave your home or workplace, which is really incredible. And in terms of how this program can prepare you, it really allows you to start working on a more influential level. So your skills, knowledge, mindset will allow you to deliver enormous value to others, become a valued asset for any management team. And often the question we get to ask by students is what the job opportunities may look like if perhaps they're not necessarily looking to start their own business. So here, options really will vary from advancing your careers and moving to leadership roles. It's suitable for professionals looking to increase their career earning potential. It's aimed at aspiring company founders, innovation consultants, business development managers. So these just, of course, some few examples. And on the next slide, I wanted to provide you with actual real life examples of our recent graduates. So over here, you can see that upon graduation, students apply their newly acquired skills in quite a range of sectors. So technology, financial services, consulting, healthcare, energy, and more. And majority of students on this degree continue to grow within their existing employer, often securing higher paying jobs, sometimes more senior positions as well. But we also see quite significant number of graduates starting new jobs after completing the degree or at another company, and then even starting their own business. On the next slide, I wanted to, before we can start with like a webinar, to include insights that here you will hear for a brief insight from Felicia Calan, who is a US student who embraced the executive master degree in innovation and entrepreneurship to shatter barriers and unlock their full potential. So we'll listen now to what she has to say.
So when I started my search for my master's program, I was in a place where I had a lot of skill set that I'd gained from other companies, but I was really looking for leadership development. I had an idea of a business I wanted to start, but I felt like I needed more guidance and expertise and knowledge, and really felt like I was at a glass ceiling in my career, and I needed that master's degree, especially in a place like New York where it's very competitive to land executive type roles. I've always been a collaborative leader, but I've never had the right framework, especially being like a female executive, to be able to build trust with others and to run a company in a more collaborative setting, which I think is the future. I think the next generation wants to be more collaborative, especially in the startup scene. And I think that ultimately leads to a better business. So that's been the most influential part of the program for me, was learning that method and the leadership development that came with it.
Amazing. And so want to highlight that probably part why this program is so successful is because of the combined input from academic faculty and practicing entrepreneurs who are responsible for creating this rigorous curriculum. By joining HEC, you will get the opportunity to learn from world-class instructors who are highly experienced business experts and entrepreneurs themselves. So for those who are looking to join this December 2024 cohort, you'll get to meet and network with other like-minded business professionals from all over the world. So if you're interested in joining, let's now go through available pathways. So before we jump to that, I did want to spend a minute to share with you a couple of insights of our class profile from this recent June intake 2024. So what you can see here, it shows how diverse really the program is in terms of both professional backgrounds, different nationalities. The executive track really attracts more seasoned professionals in senior leadership roles. On average, they have around 13 years of work experience. While the 2-year master degree, it draws somewhat younger students with average of 7 years of work experience, but still across various domains. All right, and right now, let's cover briefly our program structure then. So there are two pathways within the master degree, the executive and the standard MSIE. Although these two pathways will share a majority of the program structure, here specifically, we would like to discuss the differences between two of them. So standard master degree allows junior professional to enter this degree program. It requires only 2 years or more of significant work experience, as opposed to 8+ years for the executive master. Students in this pathway will have opportunity to choose leadership electives, if, of course, they wish to learn more about leading organizations, influencing and inspiring people. And then there are also additional non-credit blocks of business games at the beginning of your program. With the executive master degree, students will need to demonstrate extensive work experience in a fairly senior roles in order to be accepted onto this pathway. And then once on the degree, they will be able to benefit from community building sessions. These tend to be the interactive networking sessions, allowing you to get to know each other better and prepare you for the team project phase, which will involve quite a lot of collaboration. Executive students will also have opportunity to register for in-person workshops that will take place in Paris every quarter. These workshops, they are each dedicated to a specific topic and available for executive master students from different cohorts. There tends to be a limit though for about 30 participants. So if you are interested, I would encourage you to book your place early on. And for those who are unable to travel to Paris, then of course the sessions will be held virtual, so you can always attend them. Now, before we provide further overview in our program structure, I would like to poll the audience today to better understand where you currently are in your academic journey. So you should see, hopefully on your screens right now, a poll question. So please do take a couple of seconds to provide those insights with us. So hopefully you're nearly there with the quick answer. And in advance, just want to say thank you for taking the time. It will help us to just better understand where you are in your journey and hopefully support you better moving forwards. Okay, so let's continue with the program structure then. The general program structure will remain pretty much the same, regardless of the pathway that you choose. So the way curriculum is divided is into two parts, the fundamental phase and a team project phase. Fundamental phase is the first 6 months where you'll complete 10 courses, learn how to scale up your company, boost creativity, manage new product development processes, and clearly define business strategies. Each course here is designed to be completed in 4 weeks. And then in part 2, which lasts the 12 months period, you'll complete remaining 10 courses, and that phase is called team project phase. So there you will apply everything you learned into a real world project. So this is where you'll take your potential project idea, whether that is product, technology, business proposition, and then you will take it from the initial conception all the way to the commercialization. So let's say if you have a business idea, you will create a video pitch and other students can decide if they want to join your team. Usually the teams are about 4 to 6 students, and then you also will have option to work with a mentor, will be chosen by HEC Paris, and usually is very experienced business leader and entrepreneur themselves. Whilst there are no live lectures, there are 2 live sessions per course that you can expect. So those live sessions entail instructor office hours with industry experts often joining. They tend to take place around evening or morning time, Paris time zones, about 1 hour long, and they are recorded. So these opportunities are truly incredible opportunity for you to ask in-depth questions to your professor, hear from business leaders in the field. And often with those live sessions, you will find that instructors, they tend to share some additional insights not really covered in the pre-recorded video lectures. And it's a great chance to also meet your classmates, interact with them, and I do highly encourage you to attend if you can. All right. Now, on the next slide, you are able to see right now the visual representation of the program structure for the 18 months executive master degree, where you'll study 20 separate courses in total. They grouped in distinct program stages, and then Pedro will share a link with you to the detailed curriculum in the chat, so you can have a look. But then for the 2-year master program, which is 24 months in duration, it includes additional 6 months for the thesis. So this is where you'll prepare your individually research project and then submit your business plan. Essentially, your thesis is the sum of everything you'll learn on the program. It does give you a chance to provide and prove your capabilities in your chosen field. Again, for a detailed curriculum, please refer to the link that Pedro already shared. And moving on, a very brief insight to our professors at HEC Paris who will be delivering this curriculum. So HEC Paris faculty features world-class academics who are at the forefront of research and teaching in business disciplines like strategy, organizational design, leadership, entrepreneurship, and more. Many professors have impressive real-world experience and then are entrepreneurs, consultants, and often corporate executives themselves. So here, the combination of their research, teaching, and practical experience allows HEC Paris academics to bring cutting-edge ideas and knowledge to prepare the next generation of business leaders and managers. For the executive master degree, your academic director will be Professor Svenje Sommer, and for the 2-year master program, that will be Professor Denisa Mindrude. Of course, you will be able to learn more about your instructors during onboarding at the start of your program. All right. Now, a brief insight to the student support and what you can expect from the degree. So first of all, you'll have access to a dedicated online program support team who will guide and address and assist you on a range of queries. So all students also receive tutor support and feedback, and you will be able to interact with your instructors during those live sessions on Zoom, and then, of course, ask more in-depth questions during the sessions. For real-time chats with your peers, you can use Slack. and you will be added to public channels for every fundamental course. There will be some private cohort channels as well during team project phase. And then, of course, plenty of non-academic channels where you get to share, of course, your hobbies, interests, and have that sense of community for Slack. You will also be able to receive entrepreneurship support along the way, from designated office hours to pitch training sessions, opportunity to benefit from HEC Alumni Mentoring Program, and then apply for seed funding from HEC Ventures. If you require any technical support, you'll have Coursera representative, an opportunity to use the live chat, which is offered 24/7 for the Learning Help Center. Great, all right. So on the next slide, I wanted to provide with a bit of introduction to the tuition. There are slight differences. So the 2-year program is 22,950 euros, followed by the executive pathway cost, which is 24,950 euros. That tuition is divided into 4 installments. You don't have to pay the full amount up front. So instead, there will be 5,000 euro deposit at the start when you receive an offer for your degree program. And then you'll have 3 additional installments. These are due 3, 6, and 9 months once you start on the degree program. So you can see the exact amount on the slide over here. Payment-wise, you can use credit card, bank transfer, wire transfer, which is done directly to HEC Paris for their student portal. Now, whilst there are no scholarship options available, students often explore possibility of employer sponsorship, as well as potentially considering bank loans. And for French residents who are based in France, they can tap into their CPF funding as well. On the slide, you also might have noticed there was a mention of 2,000 euro tuition discount. So just want to highlight that this is available to students right now who are about to finish and hopefully complete their application in time for this deadline. So essentially, that would mean that your application would need to be fully submitted and completed, including your referees there. But for now, I think let's provide a bit of summary of actual admission requirements. So to be eligible for the executive pathway, applicants must have a bachelor degree in any field, minimum of 8 years of professional experience, potential project idea, and of course, good command of written and spoken English. It's important to have the professional experience that is hopefully around the field of perhaps innovation, entrepreneurship, because essentially this is what will guide your choice between the 2 options. For the 2-year master program, if you have a degree, you would then need to have only 2 years as a minimum of significant professional experience. However, you may be able to enter the degree without a bachelor's, but you'll need to demonstrate you have at least 6 years of significant professional experience. Now, we are about to dive into our application support. However, before we do so, again, I wanted to take an opportunity to ask for your insights, where you are in your application process, and perhaps if there are any challenges that we may be able to help you down the line. So please take your time. It's a multiple choice. You can select several options if that's the case, and then we can hopefully assist you in future. Okay, so hopefully everyone had the opportunity to read through, select their selections, make their choices. So thank you once again, really appreciate it. And we'll be covering those shortly as well. But for now, without further ado, I did want to move to our application process stage. So this is where I will be passing now to my colleague, Sarah, who will be able to dive deeper into the whole process of applying, share some tips and recommendations. So Sarah, over to you.
Thank you, Dinah, for such great presentation. All right. Well, here is the application checklist. I'll go through the details in the following slides, which is coming up. To begin with, oh, yeah, this is the right. I think you moved a bit fast. Oh, that's the video, actually. So I'm going to wait for the video to go away. All right. So this is the right slide. Select your program. There's something wrong with the video, I guess, no?
That's all right. Yes, I think we can probably
Yeah.
let it play.
We can just forget about the video, and I will explain just with the slides. All right. So here you select your program. To begin with, please be aware that there are 5 programs present here. You have 2 masters and you have 3 university certificates. Make sure to choose the right program. When it comes to masters, somehow there's a confusion between the executive and the standard pathway. So the names are quite similar. The candidates, sometimes they confuse the master with the university certificate, so make sure to choose the right type and name of the program. On the left, you can see as well that you have a list of the sections that you need to complete. Of course, we're not going to go through all of them today, but I will try to present the most important parts. Please note that you do not have to fill out these sections in order. On the contrary, I always advise the students to start with the recommendation section, and since referees are busy professionals and they often take time to reply, so it's a good idea to send the request first, and then they have the time to reply, and you have also the time to finish your application. All right. Moving on to the next slide. All right, the recommendation section. So you basically have 3 important parts in your application. You have the recommendation section, you have the essay questions, and you also have the video pitch. How do you choose your professional referee? So if you're applying for the EMSIE, we require you to provide 2 professional referees. And if you are applying for the MSIE, we also prefer that you have 2 professional referees, but you can also have 1 academic referee if you're not able to provide 2 professional ones. But I'd like to stress the fact that the selection committee prefers professional referees. Who these people can be? They could be your current or your former supervisor, manager, directors, line managers, head of department. Please do not ask your colleagues or family members to recommend you. If you're an entrepreneur and you do not have any direct manager, you can always ask one of your important clients to evaluate you. Please note that once your referee replies, you will receive an automatic email. So if that's not the case, it means that they still have not replied, and it's up to you to follow up on your referees. You can always submit an application at 100%, but that does not mean that your application is complete, so we cannot really present it unless your referees, they have replied. All right. I guess that's it for the recommendation part. Resume, video pitch. So please make sure that your resume is up to date with the latest information. Remove any outdated skills, or you can also add any recent skills that you have learned. If you have any trainings, if you have any certificates, make sure to mention them. Your resume needs to be organized, easy to read and navigate. It also needs to highlight your accomplishments. So make sure that you have a pretty good resume, up to date, everything's clear. As far as the video pitch is concerned, as I'm sure you're aware, it's a 3-minute video pitch. So the duration needs to be between 2:30 and 3:30 maximum. Please do not send us something that lasts 20 minutes. We're going to have to ask you to redo the video, and it's going to be problematic for you. Upload the video on YouTube. The link needs to be public. So if you're not comfortable publishing something on YouTube, you can always turn the setting into unlisted. You need to be on the video as well. So please do not send us any PowerPoint presentation. You can use slides, but you also need to be present as well. And then your video pitch obviously needs to be in English. Please do not use AI, artificial intelligence. this is a red flag. We have had candidates in the past who wanted to prepare something fantasy, and I'm afraid they were rejected. We want something simple. Be yourself, present yourself, and basically that's it. The quality of your video is also important. We need to hear you. Do not add any background music to it, because we might not be able to hear you fine. So basically that's it. Nothing really complicated about the video pitch. I'd like to add that if we ask you for documents such as degrees or transcript, you don't have to translate them. So for international students with different countries, don't worry about it. You don't have to translate them. As far as the GMAT is concerned, you don't have to take the exam. It's completely optional, and your English level is evaluated through your video pitch. All right, I think that's it for the slides. All right, essay questions. Last but not least, the selection committee goes through these questions carefully, and they decide whether or not you're the right candidate for this program. So this is really your moment to shine. They're quite selective, so make sure to provide enough information for each question. We often ask for at least 2 paragraphs for each question. We have had candidates in the past who would answer with a few words. I'm afraid there is a big competition out there, and you want to be as precise as possible. What else can I tell you? Please avoid bullet points and try to explain things in your own words. Do not use Chat GPT, because it's quite obvious, and you will be rejected, I'm afraid. They will consider that you're not able to present yourself, you're not able to express yourself. So that's why it's a red flag. There is also, if you look at the list on the bottom, you have the bonus question. Although this is a bonus question, I highly recommend you to answer to it, because it's an additional value and it will help strengthen your application. And there's something that I'd like to add off the record. I know that we're recording this whole presentation, but there is a part where you need to talk about your strengths and your areas of improvement. Please remain relevant. You might as well be a good singer, but that's not going to help get you to the program. And also, please select the areas of improvement wisely. I'm going to give you an example. We had a candidate in the past who mentioned that he lacked motivations, and he was unable to finish anything that he would start. So this is a red flag. You're shooting in your own foot. So please do not do that. And yeah, basically that's it for the essays questions. Over to you, Diana.
Amazing. No, thank you so much, Sarah, for very detailed clarification, insights of all the most relevant stages. Please do put any questions you have in the chat. We will be addressing them very, very soon. So if you have any additional questions on the application process, we can assist you with that. But for now, let's cover what happens after you submit your application. So when you submitted your application, paid non-refundable fee of €100, each application then gets reviewed by the admission committee. And then that decision gets sent to the associate professor for the final review. You should expect to hear back within usually 2 to 3 business weeks. And then that decision will be shared to you via email. So for anyone who is right now in the process of applying, a reminder, the next application deadline is 9 of September. This is for the cohort, which will be beginning this 9 of December period. And another reminder, you can benefit from €2,000 discount if you complete your application fully by this timeline. All right, so then let's also discuss a little bit as to what you can expect when you complete a degree program. So on here, what you can see is that, of course, after you successfully complete the degree, you will receive your certificate. This is awarded directly by HEC Paris. It will be either in Master Degree in Innovation and Entrepreneurship or the Executive Master in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. One of the common questions is whether there is any mention of online on it or Coursera. So just to reassure you, there won't be any mention that you studied online or for Coursera. So the way it would look like is that you will receive a physical copy of your degree certificate in the mail, along with transcripts for your executive master degree. For the other pathway, your final certificate will be issued and shared electronically. Of course, you will be invited to the graduation ceremony in France to join the rest of your cohort and faculty. That ceremony usually takes place around June time, but you will be notified by HEC Paris on the exact dates a little closer to time. And absolutely, this is very exciting time for you to meet your classmates, everyone you've been working very closely for the past period, and then sometimes it might be the first time you're meeting them in person. And if you are interested in actually seeing behind the scenes of one of the fairly recent graduation ceremonies that took place back in June last year, Pedro will share a link in the chat for you. So hopefully it gives you a little bit of a flavor what to expect. All right, now moving on to the next slide. After graduation, you'll become members of HEC Paris Alumni Association, which is ranked #1 alumni network in the world, with very notable alumni, including former French President François Hollande and Michelin CEO Jean-Dominique Senard. What's truly remarkable here is that HEC Paris now hosts over 72,000 alumni based across 152 countries. And usually members help to organize over 1,000 events each year all over the world. What this also means is that you'll have access to over 7,000 job offers, which are exclusively reserved to HEC Paris alumni, both in France and internationally. And then there's a series of ongoing training workshops, webinars, one-to-one career counseling, and of course, access to HEC Paris Incubator located in Station F, which is one of the biggest startup campuses in the world. All right. On the next slide, I want to spend a minute just to discuss the fact that there are a range of virtual events you may come across throughout your study, including some perhaps on-campus activities and events. These would range from campus tours, both virtual and on-campus, occasional panel discussion, master classes, and networking evenings. So please keep an eye on any invitations that may be coming your way, and in general on the events calendar, so that if there is anything you may want to attend, of course you can do so, and then engage further with the HEC Paris faculty, alumni, and then current and prospective students. Pedro will share a link for the virtual on campus if you would like to have a look and perhaps have a bit of a virtual tour to start with. All right, that brings us to our live Q&A, and I already see we had quite a good selection of questions in the chat, which we will be addressing pretty much from this point onwards. So anything else that comes to mind, drop it in there. We still have a decent amount of time to hopefully cover them all. So let's get started. So one of the questions we have from Timothy is around scholarships and to understand if there are scholarship package for the master program. So to clarify, unfortunately, there are no scholarship options available for this degree program. However, I do encourage to, first of all, consider strongly the early application deadline, which is 9th of September, and the additional 2,000 euros that you may benefit from if you then complete successfully your whole application. The other thing to note is the installments that are there. They are there to support you with kind of relieving that pressure of needing to kind of break down this large amount in a little bit more manageable bits. And then I do encourage to have a look as well, maybe exploring the sponsorship from employer if you feel that is applicable. But hopefully that provides a bit of clarification on that. All right. Very interesting question. Perhaps something I can pass on to Sarah, maybe to share some insights, which is from Nikos, asking for some educational differences between the online program and the one at HEC Paris. So just to clarify before I pass on to Sarah, is that for this specific master degree, there's only one version of which is fully online. So unfortunately, there's no equivalent of this type of degree on campus, but perhaps if your question was more about generic differences between this online degree with some other ones on HEC Paris. Sarah, I don't know if you have any...
Yes, well, this program actually was designed for executive professionals. And these people, they're quite busy. They do not have the time to come to the campus every day, take the classes, leave their jobs. The whole point of this program was to design something to enable everyone to do their jobs and to study at the same time, to learn new skills. That was why we were aiming for something 100% online. At some point, students, they asked us whether it was possible to come to the campus to meet the professors, and that was why we have added the course, which is happening in December. It's online. It was online, but now it's on the campus. So this is something that we're willing to test to see how it goes. But as far as the online nature of the program is concerned, that's the whole point of the program. Because if the program changes to on campus, I'm afraid none of these students are able to join in. 86% of our candidates are international, and I'm afraid they're not going to be able to come to the campus every day. So that goes against whatever this program was designed for. I hope that answers to your question.
Thank you. I think that provides hopefully good detail. And we actually have a follow-up question from same student, Nikos, who was interested in terms of applying for the executive master degree. Must it be a potential project idea, or does it need to be a running business idea that would count as well? So just want to hear from you, Sarah, your insights.
Well, we don't necessarily ask you to come up with an idea right away or to have a business idea. It's good to have an idea or to be thinking about an idea. Sometimes students, they don't even want to be an entrepreneurship, to do entrepreneurship or to be entrepreneurs. Sometimes they just want to develop the existing ideas that they have in their own companies. So this is not a must, but if you do have something, perhaps in the future, it's a good thing to mention it and to talk about it, because that's also the main topic of this master. Otherwise, this is something not mandatory. If you have an idea, make sure to talk about it. If you don't have an idea, it's okay.
Brilliant. And I think that provides that clarification. I think in students' case, they may, perhaps from what I understand, already have a business up and running, and then maybe use that existing idea to present somehow in their application. And I think
they can talk about it, because the whole point of taking this master is to learn how to be an entrepreneur and to upgrade their skills. We do not expect you to start the program and to be an entrepreneur. The whole point is to learn, and do not stress about it. If you don't have any idea, don't worry about it. You're here to learn, and we're also here to help you out.
Precisely. Amazing. Thank you. Now we have another question from Fenitra, and it's around what type of projects do participants typically work on in the project-based courses? I have some insights to share, but obviously here the main emphasis is that these ideas really will vary depending on cohort, who you are in the group, and what might be those ideas that students put forward. But it can range from things like medical apps focusing on green tourism, cybersecurity awareness. They were focused on B2B platforms, blockchain, supply chains, some projects related to fintech. So as you can see, the teams for the projects are really diverse, and you don't really have a limitation on what to choose. It really will depend how you agree on the potential idea with your teammates. So hopefully that provides clarification. And moving on to another question, which I might refer to Sarah, but also we can potentially follow up in an email if perhaps right now we might not have the answer. But one of the students, Jorge, asked, is this a degree certificate, a back +5 diploma? And just want to confirm, perhaps.
Yes, this is back +5. Yeah, this is what they call it, bac +5 in French. But yes, correct.
That was easier than I thought. Thank you for confirming. Excellent. All right. Okay, so I think we just had the reply to one of the questions, which is absolutely fine. When the last online session start? So if I understood question correctly, perhaps when the classes would begin. So if that's the question, then the onboarding itself will start on the 6th of December, sorry, on the 9th of December, but then you will start your live classes from early January. So hopefully that provides you an idea of the timeline. For if you were more interested in like the last session of the program, so it depends on the pathway. If it's a 2-year program, then detailed curriculum might be of help, or for executive pathway, that will be 18 months in duration, so the dates will be slightly different. Again, if you feel you do want maybe further clarification, please feel free to pop your follow-up question in the chat right now, or we can also arrange maybe a meeting one-to-one to discuss this further. Okay. Okay, I can see there's another question related to our university certificate. So if student is not ready for this master, do you recommend following the Leading with Innovation with Creativity University Certificate from HEC first? And if you do follow it, will it then contribute at a later stage to getting this master? Great question. I don't know, Sarah, if perhaps you might want to share like the benefit.
Sure. Well, yes, we have a few candidates who are not quite sure or ready to do the master degree, to dedicate perhaps a 1.5 or 2 years to a program. So technically, in these cases, I advise them to start with the university certificate just to try it, to see how they like the program. And if in the future they decide to do the master, it's quite possible, because you're going to be able to capitalize the credits that you earn with these university certificates are transferable to the master degree. The cost will also be deduced, and your performance is also taken into consideration. So because you need to go through a selection committee, and if you have good grades, if you have been a serious student, this is also good for your performance. And then we have 3 different university certificates. You can start one by one in order. You can start with Innovation Management and Entrepreneurship. This is more focused on entrepreneurship. We have Leading Innovation with Creativity. This one is more focused on innovation. And then we have Trust-Based Leadership. Here, we're more focused on leadership. So these are part of the master. They're not the whole master. If you feel the need to go further, in that case, I would recommend you to apply for the master degree. You have at least 5 years to do so. So yeah, I think it's a win-win situation for everyone.
This is very helpful insight, especially in those cases where students may feel that starting on the master right now might not be the right thing. Either they just barely don't meet the criteria, or they feel they would like to maybe upskill first, or just test the waters. So that could be definitely an option, which then actually can capitalize down the line into master degree. And we did have actually one question from a student earlier where they already been working on the university certificate, and I think they're about to finish it around December time. So they wondered if they can at the same time start working on applying for the master degree whilst still. Great.
Of course.
And I guess that way, I would encourage, of course, to make the most of the early application deadline, which is 9th of September. So that way you can also hopefully benefit from additional discount. Get that application through. Please do include that you are still studying then for the university certificate in your application, there are a couple of sections which actually will ask you if you completed one, but I guess you can still mention you're about to complete it so that HEC Paris can be aware that you are making progress already towards that. Okay. Any recommendations that we may give to professionals with a technical background and the relevant experience, where they may have some managerial experience in pursuing a master or executive master? So I guess I think the question might be if the student is more with a technical background, if they could possibly put forward application for the master for both pathways. And probably the answer here would be with applications there. In one of the earlier slides, you would see the profile of students. They come from various industries, from different domains. They would have some technical background, perhaps medical background or similar. But what probably unites them all is their passion and interest for innovation and entrepreneurship, and maybe within their experience, even if it is a technical background, they could demonstrate that actually they've been maybe working on some innovative ideas already, maybe leading some particular projects or product development. So I would suggest maybe to channel more of those kind of relevant skills that this program also would cover. But I know, Sarah, obviously you've seen so many more applications, and I wondered what other recommendations you could give to students where they may not directly come from an entrepreneurial background, but might have quite a lot of transferable skills.
Well, yes, this program is quite general. It does not target any particular industry. Even if you take a look at the, for example, the team project parts, we have various different topics and categories. So the whole point is to prepare you to go on your own, to build your business from the scratch. You can be from the IT industry, you can be from the medical industry. The whole point is to give you the stepping stones, and then it's really up to you to actually match these learning skills to your own sectors. I do not think that being from various sectors really creates any problem.
And I think actually by answering, providing answer to this question, I think we might have also covered a very similar one where student had a marketing background, so kind of creating marketing campaigns. And again, as you highlighted, they'll have a choice to use those foundations and then apply them for any industry they want to further kind of grow and develop. Excellent. So one question was how many students we have on average per each cohort. That again will range and vary based on the pathway, and then which cohort. Is it June, is it December? But on average, I would say it's somewhere between perhaps 40 to 60 students. So it's a very decent size, I would say, for having enough interaction and also some maybe more intimate connections as a result. So another one is, how is this application, the process going to work, and if we offer scholarships? So we covered scholarship question earlier. Unfortunately, no scholarship options are available, but I would encourage to explore the other financing sections we covered at the start. We will be sharing recording, by the way, with all the attendees, so then you can dive deeper into the financing part. And with the application steps, probably just to summarize, application is fairly straightforward once you have all the necessary resources and thought process done. So you would, as I mentioned at the start, go to the HEC Paris portal link. We will be sharing that shortly in the chat as well. Select the correct program you want to apply, and then start filling in the relevant sections, prioritizing the referencing part first, perhaps, and then filling in the rest. But main things to include would be your CV, video pitch, essay questions, answers, and then, of course, the referees amongst filling in the rest of the application. All right. Another one from Imani. Is there any joint degrees or dual degrees opportunities within HEC Paris? I am not sure, but Sarah, perhaps.
I don't think so. With this program, I mean, you want to do 2 programs at the same time, or like a hybrid type of program? Did I understand well the question?
So I think they actually have follow-up on this, where it's also asking, can one pursue, in your experience, a master and an MBA as a dual joint degree? So I guess it's a combination of like MBA and then the Master Innovation and Entrepreneurship.
At the same time, or one after the other?
Looks like here it would be dual joint degree, but Imani, if you hopefully still on the call, if you don't mind providing further clarification, we'll try.
Well, it depends how available you are. For these programs, you need to dedicate at least 15 hours per week. If you're also working at the same time, taking up an MBA at the same time, I would feel like that would be too much for you. But yet again, it depends if you work or not. It depends how available you are. But I strongly recommend that you start with one thing, finish it, and then take up the other program.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying, Sarah, and hopefully that provides you further insights, Imani.
Otherwise, if you are taking an MBA right now, perhaps you can start with the university certificates, because the workload is less intense. We're talking about 6 to 8 hours per week, whereas with the master degrees, we're talking about 15 hours per week. So perhaps you can take the first university certificate along with the MBA, but yet again, it depends on your schedule, how available you are.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Actually, I'm really glad you're here today, Sarah, because we have very common and popular question that students tend to ask also on the calls, and this is around the acceptance rate. I understand we cannot share, and we don't have insights on the acceptance rate, but any perhaps feedback, reassurance, or insights you may be able to share on this type of question?
Well, the good thing about the application is that we're constantly filtering, monitoring. As soon as you start an application, if you have an interview with me or Diana, please make sure to let us know that you have started an application, because if you are not eligible for any reason for the program, if you do not have enough numbers of years of experience, we'll make sure to let you know as soon as we know, so that you don't waste your time, and so that perhaps we could orient you towards another program. The acceptance rates, we do not really communicate it, because it varies from cohort to cohort. It varies from even from year to year. So there is really not a lot of statistics to share. But I'd like to add that there is a big competition out there. The selection committees, they're very selective. We decided to add these tips and guidelines little by little, because at some point people were starting to use IE. They were starting to use the ChatGPT. So we felt the need to let you know that these things are acceptable and other things are not. So as long as you follow the guidelines, as long as you check out the criterias, and if you're eligible, go for it, give your best shot, and I think you have nothing to lose. This is a good program. And if you're eligible, so make sure that you gain your seat in the class.
I couldn't agree more. Very well said. Thank you for that clarification, Sarah. And another equally common question we have is specifically regarding executive pathway, whether managerial experience or having already that executive role is necessary to be considered for executive pathway, or having 8 or more years of relevant professional experience without perhaps direct management may also work for this degree.
Well, it's good to have some type of at least managerial experiences, but I had a few candidates in the past who would tell me, officially, we don't have anyone who would report to us, but we're a huge team and we work closely to each other, and sometimes we help each other out. Does that count as well? And I said them, yes. The whole point is we're not selecting all the managers, but if at some point unofficially some people are perhaps reporting to you, that could be also taken into consideration. So yes.
Excellent. Thank you once again. And we for now have just one more question remaining, and we are nearly at time. So I think we have chance to cover that. We mentioned earlier in the presentation that there are around 7,000 jobs exclusively reserved for HEC Paris Alumni Network. So question is whether that is per year, and a little bit more information is asked regarding the career support. So first of all, I would suggest, Roxana, if it might be helpful to maybe book a meeting with myself or Sarah, because we can provide further insights. But to summarize, there are a large number of opportunities essentially on the portal, as your alumni would be able to access and view on a regular basis. And of course, that will range. It may be more or less per year, depending on the situation. But with the career support, there is a number of things that you can benefit from as alumni. And one of the things that straight away comes to mind is Career Life Project to have a look at. There is a link I definitely can share, and probably in a meeting I can discuss a little bit more on that. And then there are different networking events where often you may be able to benefit from, having discussion around career with someone like-minded. There are mentoring, coaching available. So quite a range of opportunities to support students with their career growth and progression. So I'll be able to share some further details in the link. So please feel free to book a meeting and we can discuss it further. Okay, I think there's one more question. Okay, so I think there was a clarification in our previous guidance whether the online learning is the same as the live one on campus at HEC Paris. And to my extent, so kind of the information I have is the professors who teach for this online degree program, they are pretty much exactly the same professors who are delivering sessions on campus for other perhaps modules or topics. So it's exactly access to the same professors. In terms of the engagement you'll get, it will look a little different, but I would say there's still plenty of interactions and live engagement you can benefit from, speaking to your fellow classmates through like team project phase, through different business games. Depending on the pathway, you may join some of the in-person activities as well as part of this online degree program, and plenty of support from your academics as well. So hopefully that clarifies it, and I can see already, I think it does. So thank you for your question, Nikos. And I think that concludes the session today because there's no more questions answered, and we covered them all, which is amazing, and appreciate, Sarah, your help, first of all, with being a joint co-host today with providing clarity.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, too.
And 2 amazing tips regarding application. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and good luck to you with your applications. Have a good evening or day. Goodbye.